Every high and crushing low taught me something invaluable: resilience. I began documenting my journey, recording every lesson and every step towards rebuilding my success and my mental, even if no one else was watching. I didn't know where this path would lead, but I had Frank, Rosario, and the memories of everything I built and lost fueling my determination. What you're about to see is my journey, the highs, the lows, and every moment in between, captured during a time when I was all alone but never defeated. I'm going to get back to being a millionaire. No matter what, I will make it.
Hey guys, whoa, everything's different. I've changed, I've flipped everything on its side. Not really. Well, I mean, I did, but not, I could have done this the entire time. But I feel like this will be the first video, or the first start. I wanted to, like, flip it once everything started to kind of, like, change, like that the flow started to move upwards. And I never felt right about any of that beforehand. And I feel like also it brings some more depth when I'm thinking about it for, like, Netflix and stuff like that, to basically have this in a format at some point for this to be correct. Okay, so just thinking in the future. But what's going on here? Bunch of shit, right? So let's get into it. Today is May 23rd. Also, I'm recording on my other phone because it's just better quality, so I'm gonna just start recording on this phone from now on. Bitcoin is at 27,254. This is around the time right now, if we're watching in the future, probably before a crash happens in the stock market and stuff, and or inflation goes out, one of those, or the debt ceiling just doesn't get raised and we fall to default. But I think aside from all of that, you know, I'd rather things crash. Why? Because I have more purchasing power and I'm in a better position to basically, like, maximize my money now. And I can go ahead and put that in at the all-time lows, and maybe that might be that one opportunity that like gets me to where I need to be. So what's been good? I think last time I talked about how I might be gaining control over the project, the NFT project that fucked up. I talked about how, the project just kind of, fell through. How basically I'm just kind of grinding it, still, like, on it. So I guess I'll go on that. So firstly, with the project update, there's really nothing going. Honestly, we talked about, taking over the project, me and this other guy called Meta Versions, and he looks like he's serious about doing it, but he takes a long time to fucking respond and do shit. So I don't know. I have no clue what's actually going on. All I know is that at some point when it does happen, they'll probably involve me. But right now, I'm just, like, in the dark with everyone else. So I think that's gonna be a steady play. I'm still doing an animation for that project. I'm still, like, it's in the background, it's still being worked on. I'm doing a secondary animation that I just thought up of once the project fell through, to kind of keep momentum up just for myself and kind of for the community. And so there'll be little things that I'm doing there, but for the most part, it's just been like everyone is kind of just, like, up in the air. They don't know what the fuck's going on right now. They don't know whether to be mad or be happy that something's coming through, because there's no word on either or. So everyone's just kind of like, fuck, we're kind of getting fucked both ways, right? So there's that. So that, that's been, I wouldn't say that's been rough, because on one hand, I had my artist, myself. We're over here thinking that project is going to take us to bigger things, to better things. And I mean, as of late, it really feels disheartening that we spent 6 months trying to build something up. Do this, do that, do this. We got to get this done. We got to go, and I got to pay for this. I got to pay you on this. I got to do this. And to find out that, one, it's not going to go anywhere. Two, we're not going to get any funding for future projects, which means that the IP, like the deadline is done for that, or it's like cut off, right? So you're basically just doing the project for free at this point. You're not getting reimbursed for anything. You're not going to have a future and more money or anything. You just, it is what it is. So it's very demotivating. And then to also not have a lot of the project already done. What I mean by that is that, like, there was different stages of the project. The art was one, like an art story was the first one, which is what Jibs was working on. I was doing the animation and like the voice lines and all that stuff, which is pretty much, it's like 85% done. The only thing that has to be done is just rendering. But my equipment, my PC is very, very slowly dying. Like, I literally spent maybe like $100 to take everything out, put it back in for myself. I did all this too. Took it out, cleaned it, put it back in, just to find out that it's still, I mean, even with cleaning everything and making sure everything's good and perfect, that it's still, the cards are pretty much done. I mean, I've had the 3090s for about 2 years now, maybe 2.5 years, and they've been nothing but mining, rendering, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, for them to be running damn near 24/7 for 2 years straight is kind of crazy. So yeah, one of them is definitely dying off, which technically means I have 1.5 G, 1.5 3090s, which is not good enough to today's standards for rendering and stuff. So I think I do need a 4090 at some point. I don't know when or if I can get that, but that's one of my like next goals for 3D type stuff. And then after that, so that's just that. And then we have what else? I guess I could talk about, what I've been doing as of late with just myself. So just for myself, I've been, as I've said before, I've been doing Amazon Flex, which has been great. I've culminated a method and strategy for myself to make at least $150 for 4 hours every time I go and do a block, which is like 3 to 4 hours. And that's been working really well. I really only need about 4 blocks a week to make about $600, 16 hours, $600, or sorry, 16 hours, 16 hours, $600 for the week. Yeah. And then also I do 2 blood donations in a week, usually. So that's like $120. So you add that, and I pair that with my block. So if a block is close by, then usually if I'm good to donate, I'll do that in tandem. Like today, I did my block early in the morning. I went to donate blood, and so today was a $210 day, $215 day, sorry, technically. And so by doing that, I'm able to make 600 plus 120 would be 720, 725, somewhere around there. So I can make that every week as long as I'm good. And that's, $2,500 a month, just by doing 16 days of work. Half a month's work is $2,500. Sorry. And so, I've been on my grind, literally grinding. Like, some days I won't get any sleep, but I'll still fucking do it. I'll get things done. And one thing I did have to learn last week was that I got humbled last week. Last week, I didn't get any blocks. I got 2 blocks, right? But I didn't get a lot of blocks that I thought. So what I did was I took on Shipt and I took on Uber Eats, and I was able to make $70 instead of it being a $0 day. I was able to make $70, which was good. So I'm still looking and finding other things to replace Amazon Flex in case Flex doesn't work. The reason I'm doing this is because for me, I feel like nothing's ever consistent. Nothing is ever, you can't take for granted that everything's going to stay the same or stay the status quo. And so I'm making sure that I build out other things before I really like go hard in one thing. So I'm always making sure that I have other things on the side. That being said, that's Amazon Flex. That is solo on me. So I am doing this solo to make sure that I am grinding and making sure I keep my work ethic good and making sure that I can provide for myself without any other things. If any other things come through, then that's a plus for me, right? That's going to be extra gravy. I'm not relying on anything else but my own work ethic with Amazon Flex and all these other driver apps. That being said, I am also, and I've had to get out of a pretty big hole. I think just this week, assuming I get, let's say, like another 4 blocks within the next, 7 days, the next week, if I can get another 4 blocks, then I will have paid my rent technically. I say technically because technically Frank owes me some money to pay Rosario some money. That's a whole thing for rent. But anyways, I'm like $600 away. So that's what I mean, 4 blocks. $600 away from paying off my rent for this month, and then I'll be good. So that brings me on to the second thing that I'm doing. So we recently just started doing Angie's Leads again. I don't know if I talked about it in the last video. We started doing Angie's Leads again. Again, this is for the contractor that I live with, just to kind of remind people. I live with a contractor and his wife, and so I help him do business emails, answering the phone on certain occasions, talking to insurance, talking to the planners, talking to whoever I need to get things done, talking to loan people, talking to grant people, looking at ways to save on electricity, looking at ways to get more leads through the website, build out the website, tons of shit. Mailing out letters to potential clients, that sort of thing. So basically all the marketing and all that stuff. So we've been using Andrew's Leads, and that's been going really well. We actually just went to a couple different projects. We have a project also later today, which I just forgot. We have a project later today that we might go to as well. And so a lot of like good things on that end. A lot of like projects that we have coming out are like going through the end of this week, I believe, to pan out. And so if we get any one of them, that's about $2,000 to $3,000 on into my bank account. And the reason why that's important is because that sets me up for the next couple months. That means that I am good to start paying down my debts. Why is that important? If this extra money comes through, right? I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. If this extra money comes through, it is going to mean so much more than any other period in my journey right now. Why is that? Because I've always been behind. Right now, I am basically borderline getting, and I don't know how many times I've said this, but I'm actually borderline getting ahead. I'm borderline getting ahead. The reason I say that is because now if I get anything, even $1,000, $600, puts me over. Only 600 is basically like, or 600 or 700 is my minimum for being over the line. Once I'm over that line, I am able to start paying down my debts. once I pay down my debts, I am debt free. I have nothing I have to do. My credit will be perfect, and then I can do whatever I want. And the reason why that's good is because then I can really take on investing seriously. And I think my biggest mistake, and maybe the lesson, like, I've always wondered, and sometimes I beat myself up pretty harshly every single day about this. Shit, I'm about to tear up now. Is that I really do feel like God hates me sometimes, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. I honestly think that he hates me sometimes, and he watches me. Maybe wants me to grow or something. I don't. I really wish I knew, but it just feels like maybe it's because I'm being protected. I mean, there's many cases I don't have any broken bones. I'm pretty healthy, stuff like that. But it's like, would you take a miserable but healthy life over being like having a short life but happy? I don't know. Like, just think about it. You lose 2 million, you lose 2 million. You have to work all your life. Everything I've done has always been a struggle and has had me work. I've never once had like luck to be like, oh shit, that's awesome. I've always had to work. Even in Shiba, I had to mentally prepare and like really tell myself that things were going to be good and not sell, because there was a point where everyone was doubting about Shiba before my balance went up to 2 mil. Literally everyone was trying to sell out. Everyone was trying to do this or that. And I'm the one who basically kept holding and kept doing everything. And, I just feel like I'm learning so much. That's a given. I am learning and I am growing. But at the same time, I've learned, even I think I talked about it in my last video, I'm not as social as I used to be. I mean, I can be, but I'm not as, in social situations I'm fine, but I'm not as socially aware as I used to be. Like, my mentality changes when I think about things, who I spend time with. Are they wasting my time? What are they doing? Are they wasting their time? Stuff like that. It's like, I start thinking different now, and it scares me a little bit, because even in the last video I talked about it when I talked to my mother. And, I told her, I was like, I don't really, if somebody's far away from me, I don't really care what's going on with them, to be honest. I can't. I cannot fathom the ability to care about people who are not close to you, that are, like, physically close to you. And even if they're blood relative, it's like sometimes I'll check in and stuff like that with everyone. Or if I like talk to you every day, then I get a feeling of like closeness. That's the only thing. But there are a lot of people that I just cannot talk to every single day. I can't talk to, everyone every single day. But that's not like the biggest thing. The biggest thing is like, if something goes wrong, or if something happens or whatever, and somebody gets hurt or whatever, if it's my close family, my close family, mom, dad, sisters, that's one thing. I feel like I'll always have like a sort of attachment there. If my mom gets hurt, my dad gets hurt, I'm always going to feel some kind of way. But like, if a friend of mine in across the United States gets hurt or something like that, I'm not gonna feel as much, like, if they were close to me, like if they were like right next door, or if they were like right down the street, or like even like in the same city or whatever, or 20 miles away. It doesn't matter, as long as they're close by. I would feel some kind of way. Hey, you want to hang out? You want to go to the doctor? Or, what I mean? Like, I'd feel some way. let me buy you some food or something. I don't know, but like, I don't feel any like real emotion if somebody's far away and something bad happens to them or someone close to them. It doesn't resonate with me. And so I feel like the experiences I've gone through in the last year has ripped a lot of that emotional attachment out, because I've been up here at the top. I've hoped, not just financially, but I mean, I've hoped and I've put all my efforts in, and I pray on, for everything to be well, and I get crushed. So now my level's up here, and then I get crushed. My level's up here, get crushed. Up here, get crushed. I mean, there's only so many times I can get crushed without not expecting anything anymore. So I feel like, you can't find love for other people if you don't love yourself. And I think that's the truest thing. I don't know if I love myself, because I feel like maybe I blame myself. This might be a therapy lesson at this point, but I think I blame myself for a lot of the issues that I have, because I can't blame God. I mean, I can't, but I'm just saying, like, I could say that he hates me, but I'm never going to say that God, I'm not going to say that basically he's doing all this stuff, because it's definitely me. I could have done this. I could have done that. That's how I think about it. So, he's watching. Maybe he puts the pieces in places, but I still did the action, right? I still do all of these things. And so at the end of the day, the only person I could be mad at is myself. And if I don't love myself, I can't really find the love for other people. And that's a sad thing to know and like actually realize. Like, I realize that because I'm super analytical now, but it's one of those things where it's like, it just sucks, because I don't know if I'm going to get back to that emotional level. Not even on a financial level. That's whatever, because if I get to a financial level, the emotional level doesn't equate to the same thing. You could be at a high financial and your emotional level still here. That's what I think that's going to happen. I'm going to be up here, but everything is still going to be somewhere around here. Maybe it'll go up a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to get back to where it used to be. And long story short, it's things like that I think about every single day, and beat myself up over, and why I try so hard to do all this stuff, to try so hard to document everything, because I think it's important that, I mean, there really hasn't been like a documentary like this. I don't think, the progress of a young entrepreneur who has lost everything, not everything, but everything in the sense of my mental, my I want to say my friends, but I really don't know. Like, I haven't lost everything, right? But I lost everything. I lost a lot of potential future. And I think that's my biggest thing. The way that I look at it is, I lost a whole bunch of time by losing that money. Does that make sense? Like, I lost time, and that is what gets me. I could right now be in a really nice house that I could settle down. I can go and date, try to find, a nice girl, or travel places, and I could settle down and have kids maybe. And now all that stuff has to be pushed back, and I gotta wait until I get back there, and I don't know if I am. And that's one of the things that I battle with every single day, is that I can't believe I wasted so much time. And so aside from that, like I said, if the stuff with the contracting goes well, then I'll be good. The other thing is the cabinet maker guy. Sorry, Richard. I don't know what to tell you. He's not as reliable. I've been waiting maybe like a month for him to like really start things back up, and he just has not been. Nope, not been doing anything that I could see that's been like, okay, we're gonna do it. So no hints on doing anything for his cabinet stuff or his website or anything. So those are really the main things that's going on right now. Right now I'm just hustling, trying to build back a little bit of my social life as much as I can. You know, maybe a couple days now that I have a little tiny bit of money, couple days doing this or hanging out with some friends or something like that, at least one time every couple of weeks or so. But yeah, we'll see. I don't really know what else I can say, but I just wanted to say, you know, hopefully by the end of next week, I'll probably make a video on the first week of June. Everything, I'm hoping, this is my ideal situation. Stock market crashes, Bitcoin crashes, goes down to like 17, 16K, and we're stuck there for 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I want to be stuck at the bottom, so that way when I'm good and I pay down my debts and stuff like that, I can get back in, invest, not have any worries, and then once everything skyrockets again around August, September, maybe November or whatever, everyone who got in at the very bottom is now, you know, 50, 60x, 100x, 1000x, whatever. But, you know, you've made loads of money. And, you know, that's all I really care about right now. I want to get back to where I was. I want to be able to invest again. I want to be able to invest again and make some millions and call it a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. And so, one other thing I might try doing too. I don't know. Maybe. If this gets on Netflix, then you'll know. I already got the talents, but I will probably try modeling. Don't laugh at me for it. I'm not talking about modeling like fucking chick modeling, okay? I'm talking about, there's this thing called all cast talent or something like that. I think you pay like a fee, like $60 a month or, you know, 100 a year, some crazy amount. But anyways, let's just say I pay that. A lot of the casting calls, they're like, you know, I don't know, like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 or $500 for like a small commercial or something like that. And I was just thinking about that. I was like, hey, I probably got the face for it. I can do it. And if I got somebody's that can do headshots. All I would need is like a whole bunch of different like clothes and stuff. So that'd be a whole thing. But I mean, it would be cool to test out modeling shit. I've done so much. I've done a lot of other stuff. So as far as like you know, the categories of work. And so I think it'd be interesting to put that on my resume as far as my virtual resume, as like just something else I can do that, you know, because I wouldn't call myself super attractive, but I wouldn't say that I'm like ugly. Maybe, I don't know. At least objectively, a lot of people have said I'm like a 6 or 7. So I don't know, maybe a 5.5. Like super objective, maybe a 5.5. So above average, but still around average. Also animation wise, like I said, I'm gonna finish up this animation, then I have another animation that I want to render, and then I have an animation idea for a series that hopefully I can get an idea launched up, because my animator, he owes me 5K, by the way. I don't know if I told you guys about that. He basically took 5K, didn't tell me. I mean, he asked for 5K. I paid him 5K because he was in need. And then he basically like didn't talk to me for like a whole 6 months to 8 months or whatever. And then comes out and tells me that he really needed the money, but he didn't know how to say, like, he didn't know really how to like thank me. And then also the situation was so bad with like where he was living and all that other stuff that it didn't really come through it. And once it did, it's been so much time that it felt really weird. So anyways, we made up, and he owes me 5K of work for animation work. So I have an animation this summer, animator for this summer, to basically get things going and try to get some projects going. If I can get somebody to model the characters I need, have somebody do the voice lines for the characters that I need, I can go ahead and make a couple quick animations, put them on TikTok, put them on Instagram, put them on YouTube, and see if we can't get something going. And if it pops off just even a little bit, I can go ahead and ask for a Patreon for funding, and that would be just another revenue stream, but also one that I really, really, really would like. You don't know how much I would love to just have my animation studio be good instead of just be a non-profit at this point. Like, literally, it makes no money, and I spend so much money, and, you know, for what? Why? So that's everything that I'm doing. It was a longer video, but I think it's a very productive video to show everything that's happening, what's culminating, what's coiling up for the end of this month. And I feel like a whole bunch of rockets are gonna fucking explode in June. And yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And even when I travel, I will do these vlogs. If I am in a different country, you bet I'm gonna do a vlog. I'm gonna keep doing these until I get to where I need to be, and that's all I need to say. So with that being said, take it easy, guys. Bye.
That green top up there, circling and tighter formation. Up, got up. Okay.
And
It is muscle. This is elite muscle right here.
I got the.
You see that?
Bro.
Look at this. You didn't used to have this. This is all created.
It's beautiful. That's all I gotta say, and that's why I love this shit. So Spider-Man was 10 out of 10, 11 out of 11. I don't know.
So if you thought the video was good, please give it a like and share. It really helps. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see the rest of the story unfold. This project is so close to my heart, and your support keeps it going. Thanks so much. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time in the archives of a Shiba Millionaire.